Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Literacy How webinar, all in one, using every component of the wheel to teach structured literacy lessons. I am so happy to see all of you. Well, not really see all of you, but know that you are here, and we welcome you. I am Margie Gillis. I am the founder and president of Literacy How, and we empower teaching excellence by making sure teachers understand how to apply the science of teaching reading. And so this evening, or maybe it's afternoon or morning, depending on what time zone you're in, we want to share the importance of integrating literacy and all the components of the reading wheel, which some of you have seen and know about, but Elke will certainly introduce you to that, and why it's important to bring all of those components, or as many of those components, together, not only during the literacy block, but you can extend it beyond that as well. But without further ado, because the star of the show today is Elke Blanchard. Elke and I have worked together for 20 years officially. I cannot believe it. She is phenomenal. She is a teacher's teacher, and she is so great. She has got this rare quality of seeing the big picture and showing how all these things can get interwoven. So again, I'm very, very pleased to introduce you to Elke, and I know you'll enjoy this session very much.
Thank you, Margie. Yes, I am so excited to do this, folks, because for many, many years, we've been teaching all the components. And for many, many years, all of us have been learning all the components. And the one thing that I said to Margie is it's the all-in-one. We need to be doing the integration of all of these, because so many teachers, the biggest thing probably is, where do I find time to do all the components? I understand the importance. I understand that I need to do it, but I have so much to do. How can I do it all? Well, the way to do it is to do it all in one. And so let's talk about that a little bit. And let me see here. The question is why? Why should we do all in one? Well, for one thing, what it does is it builds the prior knowledge, because I'm going to be taking you through two different lessons. And I'm going to be giving you day one of each lesson. And what that does is the day one aspect develops that prior knowledge so that the students on the second day have something to grasp onto. Not only is building prior knowledge important, but we also know that we want to be motivating students. And when I do this, and my colleagues and all of the teachers that I've worked with use this approach, the one thing that they say all the time is the students are so motivated. They're so excited to then read the story the next day. Also, doing it this way, because you're pulling in and giving them that prior knowledge on the first day before reading the text, you're leveling that playing field for them, because you are giving them prior knowledge. And finally, because we are giving them that first day just phrases to work with, words and phrases to work with, we begin to ask them those very important comprehension questions about prediction and inference. And you'll see how it goes as we run through two lessons today for you. If you have any questions as we're going through here, please enter them into the chat box. And Kim is going to be looking at that. And at the end of our presentation, we'll take a look at those questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. As Margie just said, our mission at Literacy How is to empower teachers. And we have to be the knowledgeable ones, right? We are not the program. We are knowledgeable teachers. If it wasn't that way, a robot could do it. But we know that it's the teacher that brings it to life, that knows and differentiates constantly with their students to know exactly what we need to do. So whether you have a program that you're working with or not, it is our knowledge when we're working with material that we create the success for the students. And we know that literacy is the language of opportunity, and we want to give all students that opportunity, or should we actually say that right, to be able to read so they can do whatever it is they want to do in life and become citizens of our world and help to move it forward. So the all-in-one, if we're taking a look at Hollis Scalborough's braid, actually uses all the components. It uses the language comprehension components, or if you're calling it listening comprehension, so those components on that top part of the braid, but it also uses the bottom part of the braid, the word recognition components. And together, as we are increasingly strategic as well as increasingly automatic, that is what we are working towards, that skilled comprehension. Here's our Literacy How wheel, which probably the majority of you have seen over and over again. Looking at those components of the wheel that we put together based off of the National Reading Panel report that came out in 2000. Of course, you know that we made a few changes, putting oral language at the core, and then also at that bottom, changing that fluency to syntax, which is so, so vital. The way that you're going to be seeing these lessons today is through this lesson plan format. We're calling it My Reading Routine. Not only does the teacher have this in front of them, but the student has it in front of them as well. They know that there are 5 components when they get pulled back to that table when they're doing small group lessons. They know when one component is done and the next component is starting. And so it's really great for them. They know what to expect. And that's a very important aspect for our students as well, to know what to expect, to know what's coming next, to know when it's done. And there's comfort in that. So let's take a look. On our wheel, one of the pieces is phonology. It is vital, and I think we're kind of talking to the choir here for all of us that are together in terms of the fact that we need to teach the students about the sounds of our language. They have to be able to hear the sounds of our language and connect them. So phonology is one very important component, which we do have right here on the reading routine. Another very important aspect of our language is to teach students about our orthography, the fact that the English language has 6 syllable types and how to read them and how to then also write them is vital. So teaching those 6 syllable types is very, very important. And then when we're writing it, using these sound letter maps or phoneme grapheme mapping charts to pull apart the sounds and then connect them with the graphemes. So those are very important parts that are also in this lesson plan as well. The next part of the lesson plan, and this is the day 1, this is a 2-day lesson plan where I use the same reading routine, but we're going to be seeing day 1. And on day 1, what I do is I take my book that I'm reading or my article that I'm reading, and I pull out the important words and important phrases. This is what the students are going to be looking at for reading on day 1, as opposed to looking through the book at the pictures to get a feel or some background in what's happening. Right here is where the background gets started. They can see who the characters are. They can, from reading these phrases, they'll be able to read and infer what the setting is. And if you choose your phrases carefully, you can pop in what might be the problem in the story. What I typically don't do is put a phrase for how it ends, because this is where I'm working with the students and making them picture in their head what's happening, making them infer what's happening, talking to them about making predictions about what's happening. And this is where this all happens, in the word and phrase walk. This is what gets them excited, because they're visualizing the pictures. And then the next day when they read the story, they're looking for what they visualized to see, does it match or does it not match? So that's that portion of the reading routine. And finally, the last one at the bottom, the who do, is really our syntax. And syntax is that bridge to comprehension. And for many of you who have taken our courses or other courses on syntax, you understand the importance of that as well. Understanding the function of a sentence, the function of what the noun phrase is, the function of the verb phrase, the function of the where and the when phrase, and how that helps to add to the verb phrase. Those are such important aspects that we need to teach to our students very explicitly. By them understanding these functional components and the order in which those sentences are put together, they're actually building that comprehension in their brain. They're building that mental model in their brain. They're building the video in their brain as they move from sentence to sentence. So syntax is, I might dare say, one of the most important things once we get them to be able to pull the words off the page. That allows us to be fluent as well, because we're reading in this nice prosodic way. So now that we've gone through our wheel and talked about the important pieces, and you see that it is connected with the reading routine, let's get started with the first lesson. Here's our story. This is a book by Jill Lauren. She writes decodable text for students, and this is one of her books. We love these books because not only is it decodable, but it's motivating, it's exciting, and it also has a story. And that's very important to be teaching our students. So here we go. You now become the students. I'm not going to be talking to you as the educators. Now we're going to enter into my classroom. Okay, so here we go. Here's our book that we're going to be reading. Let's read it together. A sick rock. With a question, a sick rock? How could a rock be sick? Look at that rock. Look at that stuff dripping from it, you guys. What could that be? Oh, that's so yucky, isn't it? Let's find out. Let's start our lesson. And we know our first part of their lesson. Let's start with the alphabet. All right, so let's say our letters. Let's stop at our vowel sounds and make the gestures and the sounds for our vowels. Ready? Let's begin. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now, I'm saying that to you guys hearing this. This is what the students would be saying, not me. What I'm doing is I'm listening, okay? Just to reiterate, I am not making this. The students are saying all of this, but for our purposes, I'm pretending to be a student. All right, now that we did the alphabet, let's do an alphabet activity. Our missing letter deck. All right, make sure you say the first letter, the second letter and say the letter that comes after it. And if you need help, just use your alphabet strip that's right in front of you. All right, let's go. E, F, G. Good. K, L, M. J, K. Yeah, if you're not sure, just look at your alphabet strip. J, K, L. Good. C, D, E. You got it. R, S, T. Great. Nice job. Somebody put a check. Oh, okay. Thanks for putting that check. Let's go on to our next piece where we're going to be, what are we doing? Let's listen to sounds and let's write those sounds. Here are some words that are going to be in a sick rock. All right. And you know that we just learned about this and we've been reading some words like this. When we hear k at the end of a word, how are we spelling it? Oh, that's right. With the CK, digraph CK we use. All right, here's your first word. Are you guys ready? Everybody has their phoneme grapheme boards, their sound letter boards, and your pen. Oh, you have your erasers? Okay, good. Let's do what we do. Everybody echo after me. The first word is doc. Doc. Good. Let's pull that apart and dot as we make those sounds. D, a, k. Great. Oh, we have 2 boxes left over. What do? Oh, that's right. Slash that trash. Slash, slash. Let's go back and put the letters that go with those sounds. What's the word again? Doc. That's right. All right. What's the first sound? D. Good. And what letter is that? That's right. D. Nice job. All right. Let's sound it out again. D. What comes next? Ah, that's right. And what letter is that? Oh, great. Let's get our final sound in there. Let's sound it out. Ready? D, a, k. That's right. And what are we going to put? That final k sound. Nice job. You remembered to put CK. Excellent. All right. So on the line on the side, we're going to write the word doc. I want you to use your best handwriting. I want you to do it fast, and I want you to say the letters as you write it, okay? Are you going to write it fast? Good. Are you going to use your best handwriting? Excellent. Okay. Are you ready to write it? Get your pen on the paper and ready, begin. D, O, C, K. What's the word? Doc. Here's a picture of a dock, you guys. Look at that. The dock goes over the water. That's going to be in our story. Where do you think this story is going to take place? That's right. Yeah, we're at some kind of water. Could be a lake or it could be the ocean. And we're on the dock. Or maybe we're on the dock. We'll have to see. All right, let's do our next word. The next word is muck. Say muck. All right, let's put our dots for our sounds. Ready, go. M, k. We have 2 extra boxes. What are we going to do? Slash that trash. All right, let's connect our letters with those sounds. What's that word again? Muck. All right, let's do it. What's the first sound? Excellent. And what letter is that? Good. M. All right, let's sound it out again. That's right. That's the letter U. And our last sound, let's say that word again and sound it out. Say it again. Muck. Good. Let's sound it out. K. How are we spelling it? That's right. CK. All right. Muck. Boy, did you ever hear the word muck? Muck is like when something is kind of yucky and sticking to you a little bit. It's kind of like yucky. Yucky and muck. They're kind of similar. I know that when there's muck stuck on me, it does feel a little yucky. And muck is Not a nice thing to have stuck on you. All right, let's get ready to write that word muck. We're going to write it as neat as we can, as fast as we can, and we're going to also name the letters. Yes, are you ready? Pen on the paper, get ready for that M. Yep, have it up because M comes down. Ready? And on your mark, get set, go. M-U-C-K, muck. Excellent. So I would probably do this for a couple more words, and then we would move on. Nice job with that, boys and girls. All right, it's your turn to check off. We listened to sounds, right? And then we wrote the letters that go with those sounds. So it's your turn. Go ahead and put a check next to listening to sounds. And you can put a check next to writing the letters that go with those sounds. Great. Oh, now we're ready to read. Let's read some of the phrases that are going to be in our book, A Sick Rock. We know dock and muck. Was that muck that was stuck on that rock? Let's see our phrases and see if we can see. All right, let's read that first phrase. On a dock. Great. Let's read it this way. On a dock. Good. All right. They are going to be on a dock. I wonder if it's a lake or if it's the ocean. We'll have to find out. Let's read that next one. A rock with muck. That's the student saying it. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's read it this way. A rock with muck. A rock with muck. Nice job. The rock does have that muck on it, doesn't it? We saw that in the picture. I wonder what that is on there. Let's go down to our next one. Our next phrase. Began. Began. Okay, let's read that one together. Ready? Go. Began to be, and let's read it this way. Began to kick. Began to kick. What's gonna kick? Is that rock? A rock can't kick. What are you guys thinking? Could a rock begin to kick? This doesn't sound like a real story to me. Let's read the next phrase and see. It's a duck. Read it this, oh, and see how it has the exclamation point? Let's read it this way. It's a duck. Nice job reading it that way. It's a duck. So wait a second. What's a duck? It says it's a duck. What is the it that we're talking about, you guys? Do you think that the rock is actually a duck? Why did it look like a rock? Because it was covered with muck? Oh, that poor duck. Oh no, that's not healthy for the duck, is it, you guys? Let's read our next phrase and see what happens. To the vet. Great job. And this time read it this way. To the vet. Where are they going to take this duck? Why are they going to take him to the vet, you guys? Oh, maybe the vet can help him get that muck off and see what's wrong with him. Boys and girls, you did some great jobs making those pictures in your head and telling me and making predictions about what you think is going to happen and connecting, knowing that when it said it's a duck, we were talking about the rock. Oh my gosh, you know what? Tomorrow we're going to read the whole book and let's see if what you were thinking is what happened in the book. Does that sound great? Good. All right. Hey, whose turn is it? Oh, yep, it's your turn. Go ahead and check off that we read our phrases and we were thinking about it. Nice. Oh, we have our last thing to do, our who do. Are you guys ready for the who do? Look, I took a picture of it on my phone. Here, check this out. This picture's not from your story. It's not from A Sick Rock. I found it on the internet. Wait till you see what it is. What is that? You're right. It's a duck. What are those orange things? Oh, yeah. Someone's holding the duck. What are those? Look at all those little white circles. What's that? Oh, it's soap. Wait a second, you guys. What is happening here? Oh my gosh. That duck, this duck has muck all over it too. Oh my goodness. And you know what, this duck, where I'll tell you where I got this picture from. I'll tell you what the muck is on that duck. It's oil. The duck was in its pond, and somehow oil got spilled in the pond and it got all over the duck. And they're cleaning it off. We can tell. How can we tell they're cleaning it off? That's right. With those bubbles, we know that that's soap. Oh, thank goodness people are there to care for those ducks, because that does happen from time to time. Oh, you know about that too, with an oil spill. Yes. When there's an oil spill, this happens to not just one duck, but lots of animals, and we have to come in and help. Hey, you guys, let's put together a who do sentence. Okay. So, who are we talking about? The duck? Oh, you said the man. Yeah, we could talk about either. All right. How about you want to do the duck? Let's start with the duck. What is the duck doing? He's sitting. Good. The duck sits. Well, where is the duck sitting? On a pad. Yeah, some kind of a pad. He's sitting on the pad, isn't he? All right, let's say that. A duck sits on the pad. Well, when is he sitting on the pad? While the man holds him. Yep, the man is holding him. Oh, I like what you said too. While the man cleans him. Great. Let's make sure we don't forget that period at the end. Let's read that. A duck sits on the pad while the man cleans him. Great. Hey, you guys, watch what I'm going to do with this Post-it. I'm going to move it over to the beginning. All right. So who can say this sentence now? I'll go first. While the man cleans the duck. That didn't make sense, did it? While the man cleans the duck, he sits on the mat. Yeah, who wants to say that? While the man cleans the duck, he sits on the mat. Great. Nice job. We're going to look at that again tomorrow too. All right. So, all right, it's your turn to put a check. Great. Put a check mark on there. Nice. All right, boys and girls, great job in your lesson today. Tomorrow, we're going to actually read the whole story and see if what we predicted about a sick rock is what the story and the author tells us. Let's find out what happens, okay? All right, you may go back to your tables. So then on the next day, now I'm back to you guys. Then on the next day, I'm going to do the reading routine again. I'm going to go through alphabet. I'm going to probably do a different alphabet activity. I'm going to do something with spelling, not as many words, because I actually need a little bit more time because I want to read the story. So I'm probably only going to do one word for spelling. And I'm basing this off of a 15-minute lesson plan, because that's in the schools that I go into, that's typically what they have with their small groups. If you're tutoring a child, you have much more time, and you have much more time to spend on each of those components. But day 2 and 3, you're going to read the book, and perhaps you're going to finish it on day 2. So day 3, we can use to do a lot of other activities. We can definitely get into the retell of the story and those important comprehension components. So as you can see, as we go through the reading routine, we're hitting upon letter names, sounds. We're getting into the sounds of words. our phonology, our phonemic awareness. We're getting into spelling the sounds of those words, our phonics. It hits upon our vocabulary and morphology perhaps as well. It's getting into text comprehension or written expression, really, because we're writing those words at the word level. Then when we're reading those phrases, we're working with the phonics, but we're also working with comprehension because we're asking those questions for inference and prediction. We're hitting upon vocabulary because there's definitely vocabulary in there. Many times there's going to be the multiple meaning words that are in there, so we want to talk about those as well. And then finally, we're taking that opportunity to look at something that's connected, not a sentence that goes exactly with the story, or not a picture, because I like to use a picture here, not a picture that's taken from the story, but something that's taken somewhere else. And I really like to use real pictures here because what I'm trying to do is build that background knowledge, that prior knowledge, and those connections for students so that it's not just one spot where they're reading about a duck that has muck on it, but now we're getting into other things when there's an oil spill or something like that. So we're staying on a topic or a theme and quickly being able to add another line into their schema on that topic or on that theme, so we can start to broaden what our students have to be able to pull from and to be able to attach new material onto. And we're able to do that with the Who Do in a very quick amount of time. So really, when we get into the syntax, we're looking at comprehension. I get the students to write those sentences depending on where they're at in terms of their knowledge of written expression. I'm getting at vocabulary. We're working with phonemic awareness if they're writing those sentences, and of course then the phonics aspect and spelling aspect. So we're really hitting upon all aspects of the wheel. I know I don't have the oral language circled, but I think you saw all the oral language that was happening as well. So that takes us through that first lesson. And that's, of course, at a CVC level. We're working with the closed syllable decodable text there. I'm going to stop this share for a moment so I can then add and share with you the second lesson plan. So I'm going to just pop into the chat box a place for everyone, if you'd like, to click on it. This next lesson that we're going to do, I'm going to do using slides, and I've added Pear Deck. Some of you may know Pear Deck, some of you may not. You definitely don't have to know Pear Deck in order to participate in this interactive lesson plan that we're going to do now. If you click on that https app.peardeck.com, and you can either open up a side window so that you could be seeing what's happening in the presentation, but then also be playing the role of the student, or you can just do it simply on your phone as well. So let me pull up our second lesson. And here it is. So if you clicked on that link, it should take you here. This is the password for you to put in. You don't need to put a space. So it's MBSOOB. Once you put in those, that password, you will then, oh, look, I already have 6, that was fast, 16, 18. Oh, I I have too many students at my bean table right now. No, but really, this is something that you can actually do with your whole class. And I do it often with second grade and above. I feel that starting in second grade, they really have a handle on how to do this. I might actually do it with some first graders at the end of the year this year. I'm going to give it a try. I really got into this with COVID and found that not only is using Pear Deck a great way to make sure that all the students respond, but I can look back afterwards to see, where are my students at? Who does need more of this? Who should I pull back to the table, the small group table, and do more of this? So the second lesson that we're about to see is multisyllabic. And this is from an article. So let's get started. All right, boys and girls, today we're going to start to find out about a little bit more about bees. You guys know about Pear Deck. Sometimes you're going to have to pull the dot to where you think the answer is. Sometimes you're going to have to draw a line. Sometimes you might have to type something in. So depending on what your Pear Deck asks you, respond, okay? So your Pear Deck is asking you right now, what do you think? Do you think bees hibernate? We're going to be reading that article later on today, if we have time. And if not, we're going to read it tomorrow. But let's get started on it today. What do you think? Do bees hibernate? All right, I'm going to lock the screens right now. And you guys just notice something different happening on your screen. Now I'm going to show the responses. All right. Oh, the majority of you think that bees do hibernate. Some think bees do not hibernate. And just one person thinks they're not sure. All right, let's go on to our next screen. All right, so here we go. Here's our reading routine again. And let's start the let's continue with that lesson. So I'm starting with the review. Boys and girls, the review today, we know that we have 6 syllable types, but what are the 3 syllable types that produce a long vowel sound? I'd like you to write them. You can either type them or you can draw them in the top 3 boxes. Okay, I'm getting some people responding. All right, we're about halfway there. So because we're halfway there, let's show those responses. Oh, look, we have the open syllable where the vowel is long. We have silent E where the vowel is long, and double vowel. And so just for teachers, for you that are watching the webinar today, I'm going to show it to you in a couple different modes. I can do it in overlap mode. Not good for this one, is it? I can do it broken out like this, where I can start to see what students are putting: open, vowel team, silent E. And at the end, what I'm able to do for my lesson with my students, I save it. Now I can go back and see which students had it, which students didn't have it, so I can pull small groups for it. Okay. But of course, as you see, there are no names associated to it when it's up on the touch it in my classroom. All right, great. Let's do a little bit of review. AI, final position AY says A, good. And I don't have it where you guys are putting anything in, but if I have the word stain, we're going to use, that's right, AI. EE, EA, final position Y says E. Yeah, and the students are saying this, not me. The students are going through and saying it because they've learned this. and these are their drill cards, right? And if I have the word greedy, I hear E at the end of greedy. What am I going to put? Y. That's right. Good. OU, final position. OW says ow. The word that I have is bow. How am I going to spell it? That's right. OW. Good. OI, final position. OY says oi. The word is turmoil. There was a lot of turmoil the other day, wasn't there? We talked about that word. How are you going to spell it? That's right. OI. AU, final position. AW says awe. And what's our word going to be? Flaw. That's right. How are you going to spell it? Right. AW, because you know that words don't end in the letter U, do they? All right. Check box next to that. We did our review. Let's go on to hearing sounds and writing those. And because we're using Pear Deck, we're not going to actually write them. You guys are going to hear the syllables and you're going to place them into the correct syllable type. And we're going to build our words from there. All right. So up at the top, there's your syllable. Where does that belong? Which syllable type does that belong in? Pull your dot to the right syllable. Is it open, double vowel, silent E, closed syllable, vowel R, or consonant LE syllable? All right, some of you guys have responded. You're waiting just a little bit. Let's show those responses. Oh, look at everybody pulling that over to the closed syllable. And it says, so you is going to say, and it says clus. Good. Next one. Here we go. TREAT. What syllable type is that? Where's that going to go? That's right, into our double vowel. EA is going to say E, and the syllable says treat. Good. Next one. LOW. Where's that going to go? We've been working with that OW for a little while. Yes. Oh, I see how some people put it into, why some people might have put it into the vowel consonant. Let me just lock the screen there for a second so we can talk about it. But we know that sometimes our vowels are A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y, and sometimes W. That's right. And in this case, it's acting as the vowel. So it is the vowel. Now here, ladies and gentlemen, I probably would lock the screen. I might unlock it so all the kids could move it over, or I might keep it locked so I can look later to see, all right, which of my students was still putting the OW into the closed syllable. So I might just keep it locked, but sometimes I do unlock it to give the students that chance to move it in. All right, here we have RE. What syllable is that? The open syllable. Yeah, we have our vowel, nothing after it. So it's going to have that long sound and it's going to say re. Nice job. And how about this one? TER. Of course, I'm going a lot faster than I would probably with the students, but depending on their knowledge. Yes, that is the vowel R, the good old pirate syllable. TER says what, everybody? Ter. Good. All right. And I think this might be our last one. BE. Yep, open syllable says B. Good. All right, so here we have them. Before anybody does anything, I'm going to lock the screens because I want you guys to listen for a second. What you're going to do, you're going to draw a line from the green syllable. You're going to draw a line to the red syllable because I want you to make a real 2-syllable word. Okay, there are 3 words here. So I will unlock the screen and you guys can draw a line to make a real word. Okay, so let me turn that on so we can see. Here you can see it in this mode. This is one of those ones where we can do that overlap. Well, it's a little bit messy, but maybe I'll just put it this way so we can see a little bit more. Actually, I'll put it in this mode where it's much larger and we can see, oh, great. You have below, below, everybody say below. Retreat, everybody say retreat. And cluster, everybody say cluster. Good. Below, we all know what below means, right? And retreat, well, oh, you know what? Retreat means to start to move away from, to move back from something. Maybe we don't like where we're at and we have to move back. So we have to get away. And cluster, I'm going to show that too with my hands. I'm going to bring it into a cluster when things are very close to each other. All right, let's move on to the next screen. And what I want you guys, oh, thank you for checking off that we did our words. We were listening and knowing what sounds to make for our orthography so we could put that together and build words. Let's go to reading our, getting ready to read about bees and do they hibernate. All right, so what I want you guys to do here is, those are our words. Let's say them again, below, yep, retreat and cluster. Well, here are some pictures and I want you to draw a line to the meaning. Which picture down here connects with the word below? Which picture connects with the word retreat? And which picture connects with the word cluster? Ready? Draw your lines. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Let's go into this mode. All right, look at everybody. You put the line for below to this. Why did you do that? Talk a little bit about that. Retreat. Yes, why did you connect retreat to this man? Where is he running towards something or away from something? That's right, he's running away from something. He's leaving something. When you retreat, you leave something. And cluster, oh, look at this cluster, this group of grapes. Don't you just want to eat it? All right. So those words, let's use those words now because they're in our article that we're going to read to determine and learn about if bees hibernate. Let's go on. All right. I'm going to lock your screens for a second. All right. And who wants to do that reading for me? And when they get to the blank, say blank. All right, or let's do it together. How about? Ready? Let's go. When the temperature falls blank 50 degrees, bees blank to their hive and crowd together to form a winter blank. All right, well, we have the words below, cluster, and retreat. Let's read that again. When the temperature falls blank 50 degrees. Yeah, why do you think that that's going to be below? What word told you that it was going to be below? Right, falls. Yeah, it falls below. Not falling down though, is it? But we talk about things falling below a certain temperature. Yeah, your mom and dad must talk to you about it that way, huh? All right, so let's everybody put that in. And I'm going to unlock the screens. Let's go on to the next part. falls below 50 degrees. Bees blank to their hive. To their hive. Are they going to go to their hive? Where are they? Bees. Oh, okay. That's right. They're out and about. But when it gets cold, because you were just telling me it goes below 50 degrees, that's cold, right? Do they want to be outside anymore when it gets cold? No. So where are they going to leave the outside? And what is it to leave someplace and go somewhere else? That's right, to retreat, right? Bees are going to retreat to their hive and crowd together to form a winter cluster. Good. Let's take a look at that. And so I want you guys to picture that winter cluster. Picture a cluster of bees together. Do you think that that's going to keep them warm? Why would that keep them warm? Wonder what this is telling us. Is this telling us that bees do hibernate? All right, let's read that whole thing one more time. We would read it together again. And I'd say, all right, now let me ask you that question again. Do bees hibernate? Some people still aren't sure. I think we might have to read the whole article to find out. Okay, we have a lot of people thinking yes. I think when we read the whole article, we'll really be able to understand. Right now, we know that when it gets cold, they go back to their hive, but do we know for sure if they hibernate? I think there might be some other important information when we read our article that we're going to find out if that happens. And so even though we have to go to lunch right now, when we come back, we're going to read that article, okay? And let's see if we can take what we already know right now and let's learn some more and see if that hibernation actually does happen. Let's do our last piece of our lesson. Let's do our who-do. This certainly doesn't look like it's below 50 degrees, does it? This bee is not retreating. Now, this bee, oh, this is a different time of year, isn't it? Right. That's when it starts to get really nice. So when is this? In the spring? I think that's a great way. Oh, you want to say every spring. Okay, every spring sounds good. Every spring who? What's the who? The bee. Great. Every spring, bees, what is it that they do? What are they doing here? Pollinating. Oh, pollinating. Good. Sipping nectar. Oh, good. Great. And where are they doing it? On a yellow flower. Oh, I like that. All right, who wants to say that sentence? Great. Every spring, bees sip nectar on yellow flowers. Nice job. Don't forget that period. All right. Great. Let's check off that we did that part of our who-do. All right. Great. Let's get ready for lunch. We're going to come back and we're going to read about that article and you're going to find out what it is they do besides just forming the cluster. Something else has to happen to the cluster, right? Because those bees on the outside would be cold. So let's read and find out what happens. Or let's take our lunch. So again, the next day or later on that day, if it's later on that day, we would go right into the article. So why is it that we do this? Why is it that I took you through these two lessons? And why is it so important to have the alphabet so that we can get to fluency with our letters? Why is it so important that we have phonology and spelling so that we can become very fluent with being able to write the words? As we're writing words, that's helping us to be able to read the words. All of that connects with the bottom part of Scarborough's braid, that ability to become fluent readers. Why do we do the phrases and just taking maybe one sentence. We want to build that prior knowledge. We want them to be able to spend some time working with a little bit of it so that then when we read the whole, they have something to latch onto. Why do we read a little bit of it? To get them to think, to get them to predict and infer, and to get them to build that picture in their head. And then we say, all right, we're going to read the rest of it later. Makes them want to read. We want to get our students to want to read. And by giving those students that don't have any of that prior knowledge, a lot of our students come in with it, a lot of our students come without it. By giving them that piece, that we're leveling that playing field so that everybody has a little bit of knowledge about this hibernation. Everybody has a little bit of a knowledge about this oil slick that sticks to ducks. So that when we go ahead and read our stories, they have something to start with and they want to read it. I find time and time again that the students are so excited. Sometimes I say, is it because I'm so kooky? But no, I think it's really that they've built that story in their head and they want to read to find out if they're right. So really, this is the end, and we have a couple minutes to spare where we can go over some questions. But before Kim asks me if there were any questions from you guys in the audience, I did just want to let you know and see here. Please go to our website at literacyhow.org. There are several webinars available for free for you to watch, an hour on each aspect of those components, just in case you have some, if you're like, oh yeah, that syntax piece, let me know a little more about it. Listen to our syntax webinar, hear more about it. If you're in a district and you're like, oh my gosh, my teachers need to know this, or one of my colleagues needs to know it, have them watch these videos. If there's more that you want, if there's more you can do for your town, you can sign up and have us come and do day-long seminars where they can learn about each component of comprehensive literacy instruction. And then, of course, if you don't know, and if you do happen to live in the state of Connecticut, we also come around to your schools if you live in Connecticut. And well, we actually do it in other states too. Sometimes we do like to travel. And we'll go into the classrooms and we'll help teachers go forward and do these lessons and show them how to do it, and then plan with them how to do it. So they can watch us as we model, we can plan together, and as teachers, we can all grow so that we can make sure that all of our students are reading and being able to not have that hold them back from what it is they want to do in life. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If there's any questions, Kim, we have just 2 minutes before our time is up.
Sure, Elke, thank you. I think one question that came through, and I hope you can do this quickly, I know this is a hard one, but want to just talk a little bit about how you would adjust this kind of lesson for a higher grade, maybe 4 or 5, and what you would be tackling in this kind of lesson plan.
Okay, yeah, so the multisyllabic piece of getting in, so that article, the bees hibernating, that came out of a newspaper. So that is definitely something that I would actually be using in some of the higher grades. And I do, if our students are really, that sometimes that piece of having them move it from the dot, moving it to the syllable type, ends up going very fast once students know what they're working with. And so it's really important to include those pieces, because I want to make sure that they are capable of reading those multisyllabic words. And that's vital. And I work with students that are in the high school, and I'm doing that. So if it's a struggling student, it's definitely something that you want to be doing. If students are not struggling with the decoding of the words, then it would probably be a little different. But we do have a lot of strugglers. And so for that struggling student, And, I've actually, my oldest student was 65 years old. And I actually did the review with him whenever I worked with him. So,
Another quick question, Elgie, that just came up. Can you do this type of lesson with a read aloud book?
oh yeah, I think so. Especially if you want to if there's something that you want the kids to know before you start the book, so they have a little bit of prior knowledge, so they have something to hold on to and something to then take the new information to link it to. That's it. I might actually take that idea.
Mhm. Another really good one from Vanessa. She said, working in a school that has Haggerty, Foundations, Readers, Writers Workshop, where do these lessons fit in?
Well, that's the whole point, right? This all-in-one takes your Haggerty, takes your Foundations, takes your Writer's Workshop, takes those pieces and puts them all together in one. So then I feel good after I do my lesson because I know I worked on every component. Haggerty, these are programs that say, let's make sure you're doing phonemic awareness. Because some teachers may not have the knowledge and some teachers may not have the materials. Haggerty then came up with this. But if you know that you're pulling your group and you're doing phonemic awareness already in your small group, well, then that'll free you up from doing the Haggerty. Now, saying that, administration might say, wait a second. We say you have to do 15 minutes of Haggerty a day. But then what we have to do is, as teachers, we have to talk with an administration and show them we are knowledgeable. We are the knowledgeable ones. We are doing phonemic awareness at the level of each student within their small group lesson plan. So it's connected to the words they're reading. So it's connected to the story they're reading about. And all those pieces are interwoven all in one.
Thank you, Elkie, and thank you, everyone. I think our time is a little over, so.
Yes, thank you
can
very
say
much,
bye.
Elkie. Wonderful job, and thank you everyone for staying with us.
If you have anything else that you want, feel free to send us. I think there might be something sent to you later. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to know if you want more of this. This is really something that I would love to do more of with everybody so that we can get our students to be able to do whatever they want to do. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time out. Have a great night. Oh, somebody was asking about the bees. Do they sleep in that cluster? You know what? Do you guys know about bees in their hibernation? You know what they end up doing, you guys? They cluster and then they move, they take turns going from the outside to the inside. So when the ones that are cold need to warm up, they go in, the warm ones come back out, and they just continue to rotate. I probably should have brought up that word, rotate. That should have been my word to help, but that would be what I would do the next time I pull the kids for that class.